Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikon here coming at you with another video, and today I'm bringing you guys some more of that sweet, sweet Dauntless action. And in today's video, we're going to be fighting a Skraev. So I figured it'd be appropriate if I actually used my Skraev gear, which is the armor set you guys were watching right there. I'm also using my Skraev axe, which is not the best axe to use on this hunt. However, it is also my highest damage dealing weapon, and at this point in time, this axe is the weapon that I've been using the most on pretty much every hunt that I do. So I'm pretty much maining the axe right now, and the Skraev axe deals ice damage, so it's particularly good against fiery beasts and some such, but it's not particularly good against the Skraev, because the Skraev himself, as you can see, we're in an icy area. The Skraev himself is an ice beast. But like I said, at the same time, this axe also deals the most damage, so I figured, whatever. We'll just go with it, because I really don't have that much time to grind out gear at this point, because I was also getting ready to go to Gamescom, do all this other stuff. So yeah, my timing was very limited, and this is what I had to work with. Now, as per usual, at the start of every hunt, we're all engaged in a little bit of light gathering so that we can gather supplies to craft potions and, you know, get some more stuff for our armor sets and whatnot. This armor set has also been customized. The original color does not look like this. I customized it like this because there are some parts of the set that you can't recolor and they end up being blue and brown. Therefore, I used the same colors and kind of try to mix and match it to make it look somewhat decent. And I think the result, while not perfect, it was still pretty good. So we see the first flare coming up, and I'm like, okay, yep, there's the Skraev. I'm going to throw my own flare, and I'm going to see where are all the other hunters. So there's me. There's another Slayer here. And it looks like the other Slayer is not really in the mood for waiting. He's just going to go dive right in. And I would have waited for the other Slayers, which is why I throw my flare again to make sure that people understand we are getting in here. But the other Slayer aggroed, and I was like, well, I'm not going to let him go in there alone. We do the dodge there. We get the invincibility frames, and you guys are going to be like, wait a second. He looks just like the Shrike. Yeah, this is Shrike's distant cousin, Bob. He's from the north, and therefore he shoots out ice. So he does some similar abilities, but he also has some key differences when it comes to using ice shards and whatnot, and he's also able to make you bleed. He still has the little whirlwind vortex thing, which deals tremendous amounts of damage, which we just happen to be using much better armor right now. So it's not going to damage us as much as the Shrike did. Now, you guys will notice that the playstyle of the axe is very different. And is one of the things that I really like about the axe is that it is very satisfying to land like a fully charged, even if not fully charged, just like a half-charge blow. It feels great, particularly whenever you get a break out of it. It just feels even better. Now we see the first Slayer has gone down, but I see that there's somebody else already reviving, so I do not leave my position. I can see that the monster is moving in a way that allows me to exploit his weakness and just like smash and face right there, charging as much as I can. The key thing about the axe I found is that you don't want to always charge it to max level, because you might just end up getting all that greed, and then you kind of just like whiff it. So here you see another one of his abilities. He can freeze people. Now other players can free you. I didn't actually notice when I was playing that the other player got frozen as well. Otherwise I would have freed him. But other players can free you if they hit the ice. So that's another mechanic about this guy. He's scratching the ground. That means he's going to do that little frontal cone. You can start to see some of the Skraev's tells. For a second I was about to say Shrike. And now he's doing his little melee attacks. Once again, going in with the axe, charging it up. You can't always move with the axe, and some of the moves that you do are combos. So some of the charges that you do, you will actually have to remain in place in order to charge up the axe and deliver a blow. And there we actually got him with an ice cube in the ass. It almost looks like he's got a bit of ice poo hanging out of his tail. That's from my weapon, because like I said, my weapon deals ice damage, and every now and then when you deal ice damage, you can, you know, you can freeze certain parts of the monster. I'm not exactly sure what effect that has on a monster, but it has that neat visual effect, so that's enough for me. So circling around, one of the things that is very frustrating for me with this armor set, because this is not my main armor set, I'm just showing you guys a different armor set so that you're not always looking at the same thing. One of the things that is very frustrating for me with this armor set is the stamina management is not nearly as good as the Skraev set. Because like I said, with the Skraev set, I can dodge, I have more stamina, I have all these benefits. I lose less stamina when I dodge. And with this set, you will notice that I'm constantly starved for stamina. So the set that you decide to use and the weapon that you use with that set is going to be something very, very important when you engage in battles in Dauntless here. So we're going to pop the healing potion. And I'm going to charge up the axe here. Going to smack him in the wings. And I got my ass frozen. See the player right there freed us, and then we're able to continue to dispatch the Skraev. I'm not sure if I've called him a Shrike at any point. I might have by mistake. Anyways, I'm probably going to do the special here. Yep, here's the special. That special is because there was the special gauge that I've been filling up below the stamina gauge, if you guys noticed that. And that special will also imbue my weapon for a short time with elemental damage. It reminds me a little bit of the longsword mechanic. Like, if you guys remember, with the longsword in Monster Hunter, you would have to like do certain attacks, then you would do a special hit, and your sword would get like the gauge would kind of level up to the next level. This mechanic feels very similar to that. You'll notice that next to my special gauge, there's like a little orange thing around it now. If I'm able to level it up successfully one more time, it will become red. Which I believe indicates that I'm dealing more elemental damage, but I'm not 100% sure. Because again, there's a lot of the stuff that we still don't know. I personally still don't know it because everything's still in alpha. The UI is not super clear, so there you go. But yeah, you guys have seen a lot of the moveset from the Skraev here. Skraev is actually one of the monsters that I've probably spent the most time killing because there was actually a glitch in the alpha where the Skraev was not dropping a specific material that I needed to craft this axe. Because in terms of appearance, of all the axes I had available to me, the Skraev axe was the one that looked best, which is why I wanted to have it. I just thought this axe looked really cool and I wanted to have it. And I couldn't craft it because one of the materials was actually glitched. And this shows you just how dedicated these devs are, because they could be like, oh, well, it's the Founders Alpha, there's a glitch, nobody's going to die. They were like, no, listen, there's a problem with this. This is the devs. There's a problem with this. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. And what they did was they replaced the material that wasn't dropping, and they replaced that material with a couple of other materials that drop from the same monster. So you still have to farm the monster, but you can get the axe during the alpha so that you can test it out and you can have fun with it. And I thought that was really cool. And not only that, they've also been added more and more content to the alpha, I believe. And there's like so many behemoths still to slay that I'm just like, dude, why do I have to be at Gamescom right now? I just want to be like playing Dauntless, man. But yep, that's life. Anyway, you can see that I gave him the little ice poop again. And we are just really laying it into him because I can see from his moveset, usually I can identify the tells of what he's going to do next. So I was looking at the moveset and I was like, okay, I can see what you're doing. So I'm going to keep laying it into him. And it, like I said, it feels very satisfying to be able to land those hits. There's the Enrage. He has an Enrage very similar to the Shrike. I believe that a lot of the stuff in this particular monster is placeholder. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that a lot of the stuff is placeholder. And I think they're going to differentiate him a lot more from the Shrike once the game enters open beta. But again, they haven't told me this. I don't know if that is actually the case. That is just the feeling I get. And there, I'm such a genius that someone managed to free me and I managed to roll myself right onto another ice mine and get myself blocked off. Once again, can I just tell you guys, I kind of feel like it's important, just don't focus everything on the gameplay. Like every now and then just soak up the scenery a little bit, because one of my objectives with these videos that I'm recording here is also to provide you guys with all of the different backdrops, the different isles that I fought in. This is the ice isle, and I think it looks great. And right now, remember, you can get these islands at different times of day, which will make them look tremendously different. So right now we have the we have this, we have the sun against the snow. But previously I've been here and it was nighttime and it was snowing and it was the exact same hunt. So that's the kind of diversity that you can expect from these isles. And, you know, it feels fresh. You know, even if you're killing the same monster, doing the same thing, at least the visuals look different. You know, it helps out with the grind a little bit. Let's put it like that. You can hear another crack right there. See, this would be the stuff that we would have to crack. We'd have to crack his wings, and people would crack his wings and nobody would get the material. It was very frustrating. And now I'm stuck here. This is another thing that is a bit of a problem, in my opinion. That is player collision right now. It feels very sticky, so a lot of times you'll get stuck between the behemoths and the players. This is all stuff that I believe is going to be changed, and I believe that most of that stuff will be fine once they tune up the physics engine, which is something that still needs. As someone who's used the hammer, and pretty much I think any Slayer and Dauntless right now that has used the hammer before, you guys will probably agree with me that, like, yeah, physics engine's kind of wonky. Because, like, you can jump and you can end up on top of other players and you can keep swinging your weapon. You know, but again, it is an alpha, so certain things like this are to be expected. Once again, I just unleashed my super special on his face. And pretty much he got the frozen thing on his head, and he's, like, just having revenge right there. Giving me the wombo combo. He's actually able to wombo you, like, really hard if you're not careful. I've been womboed by the Skraev. Like, he will punt you, and after he punts you, he will, like, freeze you, and then he throws the whirlwind. It's a pain. But he's dead. We killed him, and I'm going to plant my banner right on top of him. Right there. Chalk. I love planting the banner at the end. It just feels great. You can customize that banner, by the way, which I'm assuming is going to be another way that they're going to monetize through the cosmetics and stuff like that. Once again, they're going to glorify the damage dealer, which this time just happens to be me. Still doesn't make me agree with that. I think, again, it's just placeholder stuff. I think they're going to be glorifying different things moving forward. But I told you guys, once we get to my weapons, I'll show you who the biggest damage dealer is. And there you go. We killed the Skraev, and this is one of the monsters that I've probably killed the most throughout the beta so far, because I was grinding materials to craft that axe. As a matter of fact, I had so many materials by the time they patched it and allowed us to craft this axe with other materials, I was able to instantly level up the axe to like level 3. Here's what was in the core if you guys were curious. It's just a common Skraev Aether core. It's not anything special, really. And yeah, that is the Skraev, and that is my axe. And axe, so far, I think, is probably my favorite weapon. Dauntless is looking pretty good. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Leave me all the comments, feedback. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like. Helps out a lot. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you're always notified when there's a new video or when I'm live streaming. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.